Brand new exclusive. Edition of a Slaughter. Over that Get Rich or Die Marvin.
My ambitions as a slaughter, can't deny it. I'm a straight slider. You don't want no smoke with me. You don't want no got the drink and nothing in with me. And this stuff on me a nigga OB. My ambitions as a slaughter, can't deny it. I'm a straight slider. You don't want no smoke with me. You got the drink and nothing in with me. And this stuff on me a nigga OB. I'm already a stepper, so you ain't really gotta push me. I'ma slide on whoever I hear professionate a bully. Wanna get on my level, but they can't because they pussy. I don't fold under pressure, forever tethered to this fully. Bow down bitches in the presence of this mob figure. All about the dollars cause they rule under God, nigga. To be a mobster, know you gotta live by the code. Even if it means sitting down for life, no parole. Cause mob niggas step on shit and slang white. Suckers play, they get hit up the same night. And you won't find a nigga live, but to show the opposition there ain't no competition. It's my ambition as a slider. Deny it, I'm a straight slider. You don't want no smoke with me. You don't want no got to drink and nothing in with me. And this stuff on me a nigga OB. My ambitions as a slider. I can't deny it, I'm a straight slider. You don't want no smoke with me. You don't want no got to drink and nothing in with me. And this stuff on me a nigga OB. My ambitions as a slider. Selling a dog trying to be a rap star. I made a play with the hard. They ratted, I got charged. Born and bred the hustle. Get it up out the gutter. I'm hardened by the struggle, so under pressure I ain't budging. Never been robbed. Them pussies had to steal from me. What is this? Some fake friend dirty. If it was real money, you ain't in the mob, little nigga. You in the fucking way. Chill with all them throwback pictures. Go make another play. Tied to the street through my actions. This ain't the other day. Light your whole shit off the rip. Won't get another day, bitch. And you won't find a nigga wilder. Show these little industry niggas they can get it. My ambitions as a slider. Deny it. I'm a straight slider. You don't want no smoke with me. Got you taking up the name with me. If you step on me, a nigga OB. My ambitions as a slider. I can't deny it. I'm a straight slider. You don't want no smoke with me. Got you taking up the name with me. If you step on me, a nigga OB. My ambitions as a slider. Daylight. Mobbing on earth, boy. Gonna do this one time for the dog. Long live DMX. About to be a rough ride. Get rich or die mobbing type shit. Yeah, BACKDOOR. With the dog like a DMX. Got me blowing money fast. BMF, mom, make a pussy nigga bleed. BMX, you can check the game file, nigga PDF. BACKDOOR. With the dog like I'm DMX. Got me blowing money fast. BMF, mom, make a pussy nigga bleed. BMX, you can check the game file, nigga PDF. I'm not talking with the plug about the numbers on the unit. Got a spot OT from Coke D, and it's booming, coming through like I do. You know, with all my shine on. Tell me my appearance that a nigga get it grind on. All white 114 and mix. Living violent, got me feeling 14 again. Got girlfriends that take trips on the Greyhound with a tan dog. And boomerang that catch when they touch down for the handoff. I'm hands on, shut them down, open up shop. Think I'm flipping, then get at me, dog. You know how I rock. I've been eating long enough, but I can't stop being greedy. I got divas trying to fuck and they can't stop being needy for a rap dog. With the dog like I'm DMX. Got me blowing money fast. BMF, mom, make a pussy nigga bleed. BMS, you can check the game file, nigga PDF. BACKDOOR, with the dog like I'm DMX. Got me blowing money fast. BMF, mom, make a pussy nigga bleed. BMS, you can check the game file, nigga PDF. BACKDOOR, my name, D-double-A, like what? I claim, MOE, pro line, no more game. I was trying to play nice, now shit changed. Kill them broad daylight, what these niggas want? The drama, then come and get it. Don't know what you bitches want, but they probably need the answer. Told you niggas from the jump. You falling, I catch you slipping. Don't know where I'm coming from, so how you gon' say I'm tripping? Where the hood at? I don't think they know who we be. Where my dogs at? See a pussy nigga, show your teeth. I'm the rawest that you ever saw. Dog off the reservoir, pure breed for the teeth. Dog with no betting on. BACKDOOR, with the dog like I'm DMX. Got me blowing money fast. BMF, mom, make a pussy nigga bleed. BMS, you can check the game file, nigga PDF. BACKDOOR, with the dog like I'm DMX. Got me blowing money fast. BMF, mom, make a pussy nigga bleed. BMS, you can check the game file, nigga PDF. BACKDOOR. Daylight. Mobbing on earth, boy. Showtime. Hey.
D-Mark got that heat.
Curtain call, let the show begin. I know it's hurting y'all the way I'm going in. I need a murder dog cover for the times I was killing shit and y'all ain't know it then. Working hard, long hours in the trap, in my bag like some dope again. Lit that blue magic, no Nicky Barnes cut. Niggas know who I'm doper than. Everybody, old nigga, new nigga, only see a challenge in a few niggas. A lot of y'all can wipe the smile off your face on the mob, it ain't none of you niggas. I just put the switch on the new blicker, rapid fire spitting it the boost nigga. 2 Street for a lot of you niggas, hard knocks, light body, 2 jigger. Back on my shit again. Endurance, I tire him out like a Mitchell, and I'm about to put on that shit again. I was trying to be humble, but fuck it, I'm still a man. Don't rap like a kilogram. They finna spin this up top like a ceiling fan. I'm about to pop like a trigger man. From that hustling stock, so I'm all about my dividends. It's showtime. I was trying to get rich in like no time. Underdog with a slow grind. Had to run the shit up to a gold mine. Niggas hated like the whole time. Now they kept the wave like a coastline. Yeah, these bitches fronted like the whole time. Now they front row when it's showtime. Cheering for a nigga, pulling on the nigga. I should pull a Kevin, kick her in the titty. Nah, I'm being petty, baby, I'm just kidding. Go on with your move, I ain't even tripping. I ain't groupie back when I was in the kitchen. Had 3 county, catching what I'm pitching. Montana way, started with the dishes. Out of town played, not the pocket trip. Real G's round me, we don't do the fiction. Niggas rub me wrong, it gon' be some friction. It gon' be a spark, I'ma stand on business. Ain't no favorite I can stand them niggas, they gon' lay in dirt. Candlelight visuals, face on the shirt. Now you get the picture, Psalm 23. Now you get the scripture, homies, they gon' fly. They done got religion. I be outside, functioning with killers. Police outside, hunting for the dealer. Bitches mouth wide, hungry for a nigga. I ain't even drop no money on the tigger. True player, I be turned with the ism. Bad bitches know the vibe I be giving. Fuck the haters and the lie they been telling. They'll make the news at noon 10 and 11. Showtime, it's showtime. I was trying to get rich in like no time. Underdog with a slow grind. Had to run the shit up to a gold mine. Niggas hated like the whole time. Now they kept the wave like a coastline. Yeah, these bitches fronted like the whole time. Now they front row when it's showtime. Cheering for a nigga, showtime. I was trying to get rich in like no time. Underdog with a slow grind. Had to run the shit up to a gold mine. Niggas hated like the whole time. Now they kept the wave like a coastline. Yeah, these bitches fronted like the whole time. Now they front row when it's showtime. Cheering for a nigga.
Hey man, say man, it's your boy DAA, man, Daylight TV. Back at y'all with another Rise and Grind live show. Episode number 16. Today is the date. I want to say the 27th. Today is Wednesday, July 23rd. Yeah, I fucked that all the way up. 2025, hump day, middle of the week. Got kind of on time, a little late today. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. Hit that like, subscribe button, smash that notification bell if you really mind with the content. Ain't nobody in here yet to take heed to that, but you know, part of my routine, so. Right off the bat, man, we're gonna get into some news that you could use or not. I think y'all gonna be able to use this. So, so, as y'all know, uh, the officer, one of the 3 officers that were charged in the death of Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky, had one of them, Brett Hankinson, had been on trial for the violation of Breonna Taylor's civil rights, not necessarily a murder, but the violation of her civil rights or whatever in the botched raid on her own. So we know this has been going on for quite some time or whatever, and a lot of controversy and everything surrounding it, a lot of emotion naturally, the State Her Name campaign, Breonna Taylor. The officer was found guilty by a jury in federal court for violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights. The Department of Justice, upon the verdict, have recommended 1 day in prison. Right? People with a cliffhanger, everybody was out here like, oh, Trump DOJ and all of this, right? So fast forward, dude didn't end up with a day in jail. He actually got sentenced to 33 months. And we got a news clip here of the press conference that happened after the fact. So we're going to get into the news clip, listen to Breonna's lawyers, and her family. And then I'm gonna let y'all know what I think and how I've been reacting to everything online.
Bring you some breaking news following this out of Louisville. The extended case of Breonna Taylor. The former Louisville police officer was sentenced to 33 months in prison for violating Breonna Taylor's rights during a raid in which she was shot and killed after President Trump's DOJ asked for the judge to imprison him for a single day. Let's take you out to some of these comments. Ben Taylor on the ground, or Benjamin Crump, I should say, excuse me, on the ground there. Let's listen into this live.
Prison for her daughter's death. And even though it's not what we wanted, we thought that he should have gotten more time. We are grateful to Kristen Clark, Merrick Garland, and the Department of Justice, who had the courage for the first time in the history to bring federal charges against a police officer for killing a black woman in America. And so we are grateful that he is at least going to prison, and have to thank for those 3 years about Breonna Taylor and that her life mattered. At this time, Attorney Lanita Baker, who is a great lawyer, homegrown here in Louisville, Kentucky, who have fought the fight with Tamika and the family. And Lanita, you know this family, you know this community, and thanks to you, they've been able to go this far. Y'all, a great round of applause for Attorney Lanita Baker.
Today's definitely not what we wanted, but we will take 33 months in prison, followed by the 3 years of supervised release. A DOJ prosecutor, what'd y'all say his name? Rob Keenan. We don't know his name really because he hasn't been in touch with us. He sent the text message at 10 o'clock p.m. last Wednesday. And when I told him he needed to contact Tamika Palmer, he said, oh, I'll just do it in the morning. And he didn't do that in the morning. Instead, in the morning, we got a copy of the sentencing memorandum from a member of the media. That's the prosecutor that filed that motion for 1 day. That's the prosecutor that came in here today and argued harder for Brett Hankinson to be released than he advocated for the victim of this case, Breonna Taylor. We're not fighting still for a conviction. We have the conviction. The jury found Brett Hankinson violating Breonna's civil rights.
That part.
We were here today for a just sentence. And while 33 months in prison is not enough, it's more than they were asking for. And we do have to, we commend the judge for taking the time to listen, to push back, and to express her disappointment within the Department of Justice, because she did do that. And she all but said they violated their oath of office as prosecutors. And as a former prosecutor, they did that. And at one point, it got so bad of them arguing for Brett Hankinson that I probably was going to get held in contempt. So I took Tamika out because she didn't need to listen to that man anymore. And so Ben gave accolades to Merrick Garland and Kristen Clark. I would be remiss if I did not say and give a shout out to Mike Songer, who we wish could have been here today arguing and advocating for Breonna Taylor and for the officers to truly be held to justice. Mike Songer and Anna Godfried, the prosecutors who tried this case with dignity, with respect, who listened to this family, who gave it to the jury, and who got those convictions. I would be remiss if I did not.
So, okay. See, I was a little confused. I'm gonna stop it right there real quick. I was a little confused or whatever in the sense of the DOJ, because I know it's a federal prosecution or whatever. So the DOJ that made the DOJ attorney, whatever, that made the recommendation or whatever, was not necessarily the prosecutors, the lead prosecutors that were like, running this case. So, yeah, so basically it was one person from the DOJ who wrote the memorandum recommending a death. And the judge clearly saw that that was some bullshit and wasn't going. Now, I believe the charge that Brett was facing was carried up to life. So a day was a smack in the face. And to be honest with you, Breonna Taylor, lost her life in her own home where she was supposed to be safe. You know what I mean? And was completely innocent. You know what I mean? The whole raid was a botch. You know what I mean? From start to finish. It was just sloppy. It cost that young woman her life. So now, here's my thing. He got sentenced to 33 months. He got less time for violating Breonna's civil rights, which led to her subsequent death, than I got for selling drugs. I mean, unless you want to count the post too, because even that, all right, cool, we got 3 years supervision or whatever and shit, so we're gonna do 3 years in and 3 out, right? My nigga. So that would still only be 2 years more than what I got for selling a little hard to a nigga that was getting high probably before I was born. But that's neither there, just to show you system. I mean, 33 months is only 10 months more than Michael Vick got for killing the dog, for the dog fighting shit. So, yeah, man. But again, let's finish with this.
Give them their shout out and say that we really wish you all were here today fighting for us. And just know that this is one fight. We still have 2 other officers that this community has to demand that this Department of Justice continues to prosecute. Cal Meany and Joshua James, we cannot forget about them.
Yeah.
And they are charged with Breonna's murder. You heard the judge say today that Brett Hankinson wasn't being sentenced for her murder, but Joshua James and Cal Meany are. And so this community, this family, Breonna Taylor deserves justice, and we got to continue to demand it.
Say her name.
You. Okay, so I guess those other officers, they're gonna be in a separate trial. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a murder trial. I'm wondering why they are being tried separately. That's an interesting one. Yeah, I wonder why they weren't all tried together. But then maybe the civil rights charge is in the state. Well, maybe the civil rights charge is federal, and the murder charges are in the state. You know what I mean? So, and we shall see. Like, you know what I mean? Because now we know how they separated the the responsibility. But it's kind of crazy. You would think, even if you're just charged with the civil rights thing, right? That's a felony. So murder and commission of a felony, like had you not violated her civil rights, she wouldn't have gotten killed. Or maybe it don't work like that in the feds and shit. I'm gonna see. I'll find out.
Say her name. Say her name. Yeah, as Attorney Baker said, it was really like a George Orwell story in there. Never in my career as a lawyer had I heard the prosecutor argue so adamantly for a convicted felon who had been convicted by a jury who heard all the evidence. The judge talked about how she was troubled. She agreed with Ms. Palmer that it seemed to be a 180-degree about face in the courtroom, the arguments that they were making, saying that he should get 1 day in prison, even though the jury convicted him of a crime, even though there was a sentencing guideline that said he could get up to life in prison. They said 1 day.
Yeah, like I said, up to life in prison. And you're gonna go as low as 1 day. Now hold on. Let's see. In the federal system, what is the mandatory minimum for violating a person's civil rights? All right. So and carry penalties. So in the federal system, violations of civil rights under 18 USC 242 can carry penalties ranging from fines and imprisonment up to a year at the minimum, to imprisonment for life, or even the death penalty in certain aggravated cases. The severity of the penalty depends on the specific violation and whether aggravating factors are present. Now, what the hell is more aggravating than? So yeah, I mean, he definitely or whatever was nowhere near qualified for the minimum. You understand what I'm saying? Like, honest, like 3 years ago, like, well, 33 months. It's not even 3 years. You know what I mean? Like little shot, 3 years, 9 months. 2 years, 9 months. You feel me? So then 3 years supervision, so 69 month total, right? And that's some bullshit, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And he probably gonna go to some cupcake camp or whatever and shit like that and learn to crochet and shit until, they call him down to the board. You know what I mean? To do that shit. So fuck Frank Hankins.
1 day. So I agree with Attorney Baker. We thank the judge for her attention to detail and for setting the record straight that he was convicted of depriving Breonna Taylor of her civil rights, Fourth Amendment seizure. And that is a crime that we acknowledge in America that you go to prison for. So he is going to prison. And we have to keep watching as to when he is going to go to prison. And with that, the lady who is responsible for this day happening, she fought harder than anybody else to say that my daughter, Breonna Taylor, did not deserve this. She did not deserve to be killed in her own home. She did not deserve to be lied to when she got to the apartment about where's my daughter. And they sent her on a wild goose chase while her daughter.
Yeah, so if whoever's watching this or whatever hadn't followed the story, when it happened initially, supposedly like Brianna, I guess, is in the hallway of her apartment or home or whatever. The mama get there, and then like they tell her the daughter's not there, that they took her to the hospital and all this other stuff. At one point, she even was sent to the wrong hospital. That they like almost, I mean, I'm pretty sure they intentionally gave her the wrong hospital location. So just a lot of nasty work with this, bro. Like from the moment it happened to how it was handled after the fact, and then even now to where, you know what I mean, this cocksucker is gonna get 33 months or whatever, you know what I mean, for the role he played in Breonna Taylor's death. All we can hope for is that the other two bastards or whatever and shit that were involved, that are actually being charged with the murder, you know what I mean, that they get a guilty verdict too, because ain't no 1 day recommendation for that shit. You feel me? Let's keep going.
Daughter laid in that hallway dead. From that night to this very moment, she has been dogmatic and fighting for this police officer and those others to be held accountable. So we should celebrate Tamika Palmer and Breonna Taylor's family for making this day possible. Yeah, as she gets ready to speak from her heart, let her know that her daughter will never be forgotten. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer.
Make sure you step up for us and make sure all the cameras can see you, Tamika.
I don't really got a lot to say. I think the judge did the best she could with what she had to work with. There was no prosecution in there for us. There was no prosecution in there for Breonna. So I definitely, I'm grateful for the judge for giving some time, because we could have walked away with nothing according to what they recommended. So I'm just grateful for my friends and family for steady showing up, and no matter how disappointing we seem to be, but we still here, and I'm just grateful that something happened today.
Tamika, you were frustrated at many points inside that courtroom today, listening to the prosecutor essentially arguing for Brett Hankerson in there. Tell us your mindset.
Why was he here? That was my mindset. I mean, I didn't understand him. We didn't need him if that's what he came to do. Brett had his own defense team, and I didn't know he got a second one. So
that part.
Never
He
seen
had two defense lawyers arguing for him.
Two defense.
One.
Yeah, shit. It seemed like he had the prosecution and his own defense. This shit hella confusing, bro. Like the way they played that shit. So they were clearly trying to back their officers or whatever. You know, and that's the whole thing or whatever and shit, bro. Like I don't believe in that. Oh, just cause this shit's some sucker shit. I'm hoping that them dudes that, on trial for the murder or whatever and shit, I hope at least it levels out with them. You know what I mean? Like maybe, bro, you know what I mean? Like that fucking Brett dude, that's what that just gotta be. But hopefully, when it comes down to comes down to the actual murder charges or whatever, like, you know, they really get some justice. This is the bullshit. And I respect them for, you know, keeping it together and everything like that or whatever, and just, you know, continuing the fight. But that's the bullshit, bro. 33 months or whatever, like, that lady dead. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The government attorney, his private attorneys arguing for him.
What does it mean to you to know that you were supposed to be talked to by the Department of Justice to have that new team come in? What does it mean?
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Last question, bro.
To have that new attorney on the case come in and replace all the work that the previous administration had done, what does it say to you about how serious this case was to them compared to how serious it is to you?
It was just as disrespectful as being sent to a hospital my daughter wasn't at. So, I mean, that man didn't know who I was when I walked into the room. I've never seen such a thing. I've never even heard of such a thing. It was disrespectful. It was heartbreaking. It shouldn't have happened. And like I said, he didn't know who I was. And the fact we wasn't even given the same opportunity. They submitted letters. We had family and friends submit letters. He never even turned in. I don't know the point. I don't know the point of him. I didn't know why he was here.
It was insult on top of injury, literally. Insult on top of injury. Last word.
Tamika, you told me after November 1st that you felt air in your lungs again, but you were also paying close attention to the election. How do you feel right now?
I said it that day. We'll see. And we got to see. Like, we got to see. We still,
Yeah.
I don't know that we've moved the needle much, but
Do you feel like you've got justice?
I feel like we got something.
Yeah.
We got something. I don't think it was a fair sentencing, but it was a start.
Yeah. And now we're going to hear from Mr. Kenny Walker.
All right, just listening in there to that, saying it was something somewhat better than nothing in terms of this.
so, yeah, man. Get back on BREONNA mama. Bullshit. No justice was done here. But justice is rarely done or served in the court of law. And justice is usually reserved for those who can afford it. So, with that, it's a lot of people who, like I said, been on social media saying, you know, this and that about. I came across one. So we were talking about let me see, where's her? Yeah, somebody was saying how the DOJ, Trump DOJ, right? And the Department of Justice does answer directly to the president. It's a part of its, you know, it's a part of the board, right? In the cabinet or advisors, whatever happens. But the whole thing, like, you know, just trying to put this, yeah. So here was the one I found or whatever. Shit, hold on, let me blow this up. I knew I was gonna find it. We're getting better at doing this shit in like real time. I'm not gonna lie. So the homie I Shot P, Miss Hustle, you know what I mean, had posted Trump DOJ requesting only 1 day in prison for Breonna Taylor's killer. Go ahead and give this an excuse too. So we be having like little oh wow. I thought I commented on this shit. I guess I didn't. But anyway, my response to that was that hold on a second. We gotta load this up a bit. Oh, what the fuck? Goddamn. That's bullshit. I just deleted my whole fucking thing. Hold up, y'all. Oh, I didn't. Okay. Damn. So talked about we're talking about Trump DOJ and hold on a second. I'm trying to pull this shit back up. So yeah. Okay. All right, we back in action. What the fuck is this thing? This shit can't be on bullshit. Be today. Should save myself a trip. Put it save post. All right. Finally. This is what I'm trying to make it. Oh, fuck. Yeah. So, well, bullshit. Trump DOJ requested 1 day in jail for Breonna Taylor's killer. Go ahead and make an excuse for that, right? Now, what I thought is interesting about that is it kind of plays into what I always say about people using their emotions as research, right? Because here's the thing. If make sure y'all follow Aisha Key and the Legit Hustle and all that shit. But look, bro, here's my thing, right? In 2014, somebody I knew personally, Eric Garner, was choked out and killed by the police for selling cigarettes that he wasn't selling. I happen to know firsthand that dude at the time probably hadn't been selling no damn cigarettes for at least 6 months, at the least, right? So then you got the Mike Brown incident. All of this happened or whatever under Obama's watch, under Obama's DOJ. None of them niggas got charged. Nobody. So, all of these people under these administrations and everything like that, bro, like, I hate to break it to y'all. Because y'all want to believe in, like, there's somebody coming to save you so much. But ain't nobody coming to save you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, it's like, you, what's the other shit I was going to say? There was some other shit on here. Something else that caught my eye on this page from my song. Just seen it. What's also funny or whatever is you got people out here so worried about y'all so worried more about President Obama being gay than little girls being raped, boy oh boy. Yeah, like nigga, who first of all, who's still talking about Obama? Like we're still talking about a president from almost 10 years ago? Because if y'all pay attention to it or whatever and shit, then the deflecting shit, if that's what y'all accusing, the Republicans of, it only works if you pay attention to it. So now, I just like seeing that shit. That's like, Oh yeah. Yeah, me and Asha do be having thing. I'm looking for this my son. So it says y'all president decided to. Oh yeah, this is. We'll get into that later and shit like that. It kind of leads into what I was saying. Well, it segues in this story, whatever. I was just a little mixed up and shit. Pardon. So yeah, that kind of goes into what I wanted to cover next. So now we got this off the playlist. So pull this up, pull it up, share screen, YouTube. So boy Trump, man, big orange. There's been a lot of demand for the Epstein files to be released. As you know, America love the freaky, man. Love the freaky. Love to point out, somebody being sexually deviant and everything like that. A little too infatuated. Like, one get a little too happy about this shit. Like they can't wait to find out that somebody is in. And I think in a sick way, there's some sick ass people out there that be doing the same thing. And it probably just be making them feel morally validated or whatever, knowing that people that are in the higher ups doing the same bullshit I guess they're doing. Now they feel like you are not alone. I'm a freak like you. Some shit. I don't know. But so they've been demanding the Epstein files. Trump hasn't released them yet, but what did get released was the MLK files, the Martin Luther King. So we're gonna get into this clip of them talking about that, and none other than Al Sharpton is being interviewed and giving his commentary. So let's get into this.
Releasing 200,000 pages of previously sealed documents. The Trump administration releasing 200,000 pages of previously sealed documents, but not the ones that you might expect this week. The release involves records related to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. The Trump administration hailed the move as a major step toward transparency, but Dr. King's two living children opposed the release of the documents, and civil rights leaders, including my next guest, say it's a distraction from growing calls to release files about Jeffrey Epstein. Joining us now, National Action Network President Reverend Al Sharpton. He's also the host of Politics Nation right here on MSNBC. Rev, thanks so much for being with us. So you are close friends with the King family. They didn't want this to happen. They didn't want this document dump, and you've said that this is not about transparency. So what do you think it's about?
I think it's a distraction or attempted distraction from the Epstein files. The King family, I work closely with Martin Luther King III, Reverend Bernice King, his sister, who's kept the King Center going. They had said that they wanted to go through the files, and we're in the process of doing that because you must remember a lot of these files were done by J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI in the 60s, where there was a real plan by them to dislodge the civil rights movement, come out with salacious lies on Dr. King. And they wanted to make sure that these files that were not contaminated by this kind of distortion of their father. Then all of a sudden, they dropped the files. 200,000 plus pages. Now, you'd have to ask yourself, even the most objective person, why would you want to drop files that were sealed in 77 that were not supposed to be unsealed for another couple of years? Why would you drop that many files now, but you can't drop the files on Epstein, which is just a couple of years ago? You're talking about, well, maybe we'll do the grand jury minutes. Why not all the Epstein files, but you'll give all the King files, despite the fact there may be distorted and untrue information in them?
Obviously, precarious.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I happen to remember that there was a lot of controversy saying that the guy that was charged and convicted with the Martin Luther King assassination was just a fall guy. And so they would demand that, there was a cover-up because of the FBI's COINTELPRO operation, to stop a Black Messiah and all of that, right? So people wanted to see if there was a government cover-up in that paperwork. Now, what's crazy is 200,000 pages. I guess they would just divide the workload. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? I guess if you could find, in something this big and that's so important to so many people, I could see 200 lawyers or something like that, or researchers committing to 1,000 pages a piece or something. I don't know. Like, unless you're gonna run that shit through AI. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, that's a lot of shit to drop for somebody to digest. And hopefully it's all in chronological order. Like, that would at least make it somewhat easier. The thing about like the Epstein like shit was I wasn't really understanding like all of this shit just seemed kind of wild to me, and I'm gonna get into that part or whatever in a minute. But at the end of the day, why not just release them both at the same time or whatever? It's not like, and what the question about the Epstein files is, if you're not releasing them, do you actually plan to go or still go after people who are implicated in those files? You get what I'm saying? That there's still an ongoing investigation. What the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Co-defendants in jail, Epstein dead, Martin Luther King's been dead about 50, 60 years. And meanwhile, while they're focused on this shit, we are possibly on the brink of going into a world war. I'm more so concerned about the GDP and whether or not, we're going to get into it with Russia, China, whoever, whatever little red country, we're supposed to be again. Because this shit wild. But let's see what old Al still got to say.
This timing in a lot of people's eyes. Historians are just now starting to comb through this trove of files, 200,000 pages here. A leading biographer for Dr. King himself telling the New York Times his initial assessment essentially is that there's not much new here. But is there anything that you believe might be useful to the public?
Clearly, if they come up with the fact the family has always felt that James L. Ray was not acting alone and may not have been involved, who was the one convicted and went to jail for the killing of Dr. King. If that were to come out from this file, that would be new. But I am more concerned as one who grew up in the King movement in the North. I'm from New York. Most of the movement was in the South. But when I was 13, I became youth director in New York of the economic arm of his organization, Operation Breadbasket. We always knew there was a plot to get Dr. King, and that was ultimately happened in '68. I was only 13 years old, but I was already involved. We always knew there was plots to try to avert other parts of the civil rights movement. So to have this, especially at this time, just drop like this is very disturbing to us. But more than us, the personal toll it takes on the family. Bernice and Martin lost their father. Martin's daughter, who's the only grandchild the Kings would have had, Bernice's niece, never would meet her grandfather. So now they've got to relive all of this and live in this anxiety of what they will try to do to his reputation that they tried to do in life with lies. is just something that is beyond the pale.
And I know what's.
So I think what they're worried about is there always been these stories, rumors or whatever, where ML King was a fan of, white women of the night. And then they tried to validate that, like his affinity for white women, with the fact that supposedly there was, when he was going through the ministry school in Pennsylvania, theology and everything, he met a white Jewish lady, I want to say she was, and that was like his first true love, and he was always like caught up in her, and shit like that. So many people say that his whole desegregation thing was fueled by his desire, like, he couldn't have what his heart wanted, and maybe if he lived in a different world, and so he tried to create the world he wanted. Admirable. Most people, they start a revolution or whatever movement they start based on their disdain for the current situation, So now they're saying, and there's also talks or whatever about how the night that he was in the hotel or the night before he was assassinated, that he was in there with some white call girls. And I've seen some conspiracy theorists, or some people even say that the girls were never seen again and all this other stuff. So, J. Edgar Hoover is, from my understanding, COINTELPRO, while it was, the intent was to create propaganda, but I think the information that they were collecting was said to be like accurate, or at least or whatever what they were trying to do. Like, they basically examined what was being done, and then they were reporting what they could do to circumvent, the end goal of the movement, or i.e., prevent the Black Messiah from rising. So,
Really important to the family here is to maintain that historical context that you mentioned, what the FBI was up to at the time, their perspective on Dr. King. So how important is the historical context as people maybe try themselves to comb through what's been released?
It's very important, the historical context. Let's not forget this is a man that led a movement that made America a full democracy.
Through what's been released.
Statement from the King family. While we support transparency and historical accountability, we object to any attack on our father's legacy or attempt to weaponize it to spread falsehood. We ask those who engage with the release of these files to do so with empathy, restraint, and respect for our family's continuing grief. So, got it. I mean, yeah, look, check this out, bro. I know some people would love to, tear down King's legacy or whatever the case may be. For what? I don't know. I mean, because whatever it is that he was working for, it happened. Like, the Civil Rights Bill of the Voting Act of 64 and the Civil Rights Bill of 65, or either flip, one or the other. But yeah, look, I don't know. I never really looked too deep into the whole Martin Luther King thing because I just really didn't care. Like, I didn't understand like what it would prove, and I have an unpopular opinion about certain civil rights groups, not all. So yeah, I just always looked at it like this, bro. If Martin Luther King was into some shady shit in his personal life, He was the preacher. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you the pastor and all that shit. So, I mean, I just be thinking off the rip or whatever that most of them niggas is dirty off the rip. Like, got something going on. Now, it may not be as bad as where you're, you know, a sex offender or something like that. But, you know, most pastors are whoremongers. I hate to say it, but more times than not, you'd be hard pressed to find a pastor who hasn't slept with members of his congregation, male or female. So, I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, that's why I just say like this. It sounds like, okay, because are we supposed to have empathy and practice restraint or whatever when the Epstein papers get released? Like, how do we know that shit? Because when it comes to the feds, bro, they paint whatever narrative they want to paint. So it's funny how people decide that they want to trust something when it's one thing, and then like when it's the other thing or whatever, it's up for debate. Now I get it. The leadership of the FBI is J. Edgar Hoover, and you know he was trying to protect one thing and destroy another. But the same principle applies to whoever the current director is that oversaw these files.
It's very important, the historical context. Let's not forget this is a man that led a movement that made America a full democracy with the Voting Rights Act of 65, the Civil Rights Act of 64. So this is not just some celebrity. This is a man that was a...
I mean, well, he was made a celebrity or whatever for what he did. But yeah, I mean, I get it. But see, I had it mixed up or whatever. So the Civil Rights Act of 64, Voting Rights Act of 65. Got it.
Consequential figure in world history, a Nobel Prize winner. And to just reduce this to can we find some dirt so that we can cover what we all know is dirty in the Epstein case. We don't know how involved the president was or was not. I'm not making that accusation. But it seems to me that he has found a way to get everybody's files out, or at least others' files out. But why don't we have the same openness with the Epstein files that you're now doing to Dr. King, a man who gave his life for this country?
Yeah, we just saw that tweet from Bernice saying, now do the Epstein files. So she's clearly saying there's more to this than just releasing.
Yeah, but again, why is everyone so concerned about? Because I think most people, when they get the Martin Luther King file, they want to find out how much was known. You know what I mean? Like about this shit. Either prior to, like when they were plotting to assassinate him, or after, and what they covered up. You understand? Because whatever was covered up or sealed in the file or whatever and shit like that was probably some shit that they didn't want to get out, where it really does implicate the people. So here's the thing, bro. If you support transparency and historical accountability, yeah, okay, you'd rather have the Epstein file first. So my thing is, in situations like this, I just wish Old Orange would sometimes do what he expects the outcry to be about, right? I would have dropped the Epstein files first, then I would have dropped the King files. And in that way, whatever came out with which gave the people what they wanted. Now you gotta live with it. You know, who knows what's in that Martin Luther King file? I don't know if I want to go through this shit, bro. 100, 200 something thousand. I'm gonna wait and let the pro do it. I might just do a reaction video when certain little shit comes out, because that's too much. That's too much. But moving forward. It's a report out that ICE.
Developing now at noon, the
is going to be flooding NYC. Now, y'all know yesterday we were talking about, we watched the clip about Sinaloa hacking into FBI database or something and finding informants to either intimidate or take them out. And then they touched on the Tren de Aragua dude. And, you know, ever since the whole migrant thing popped off out here, and they were putting them up in all the little shelters or former hotels, whatever they had going on, and de Aragua been out here wilding for respect, riding around on a moped, doing chain snatching, all kind of crazy shit going on, right? So now they're saying that the way ICE, I guess, hit California, bagging motherfuckers, they finna slide up in New York or whatever and do the same shit. So let's see what they talking about.
Developing now at noon, the mayor and the NYPD reacting after federal officials slammed the city over its immigration enforcement after the shooting of an off-duty Border Patrol officer. Fox 5's Morgan Mackay live from the Soundview section of the Bronx, where she's following the mayor this morning. Morgan.
Hey, Bianca, Mayor Eric Adams just wrapped up his press conference, as you can see behind me, but he only took 2 questions at this press conference. We wanted to ask him about the ICE agents that were said to be flooding the zone in New York City at any point. And we had to chase after him, and we asked him if he believes that ICE agents are needed in New York City, if more ICE agents are needed. And he said, whatever makes New York City safer. Now, this all comes after yesterday, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Border Czar Tom Homan slammed Mayor Adams and the city council after an off-duty patrol officer was shot by an undocumented migrant in an attempted robbery Saturday night. Noem and Homan criticized the city council for blocking an executive order that would allow ICE back on Rikers. They also blasted Adams for failing to do more when it comes to immigration policies like Sanctuary City. Adams in the past has said he wants to make changes to the law and said that he wants the city to cooperate more with ICE and other federal partners. He has said he is just forced to carry out the laws on the books, but hasn't said how the city will respond if there is an uptick in ICE agents. This morning on Good Day New York, NYPD Chief of Department John Schell said that the NYPD is prepared if there are protests in response.
We do things differently with the NYPD, but anyone who wants to help us in the endeavor of keeping this city safe and keeping our friends and family safe will take that help.
So later today at 5, we're going to be also showing video that we received of migrants being held in makeshift detention cells in Manhattan and how immigration groups are worried about the conditions and how long they've been held there. Reporting live, I'm Morgan Mackay. Bianca, back to you.
All right, Morgan, thank you for
So basically, ICE want to spill into New York, run down on some South Americans, and then who knows who else. I mean, this is, well, we got everybody over here. Everybody over here. Africans, Middle Easterns, Asians, every variation of Hispanic you could imagine. I mean, Albanians, Eastern Europeans, and all that. So now the question is, now we're going to see how equal it is, right? Because if they come here and they only go after the Hispanics or the Latinos and shit, now we have anything, because now we're going to be someplace where there's enough diversity to figure out if a certain group of people are being targeted more than others. You know, so yeah, that's that in the while we in New York with it, I told y'all after the ranked choice, the primary,
Democrat
during the primary, the ranked choice for New York or whatever, Zohan Mandani came out on top in the situation over Mayor Adams, who is, you know, the sitting mayor now, and Andrew Cuomo, who was the governor at one point, you know, and had quite a history here in New York. Like I said, you know, all the voters know him, you know, knew his dad and stuff. So now they said that he's gonna take a break from the race. I thought he was folding, but he's actually gonna take a family trip to Uganda, Africa. Now I didn't even know that this dude was African or whatever. Honestly, I thought he was like you know, Arabic or something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's see what this is about, because he's supposedly getting some backlash or whatever about it, and you know, it's a lot of speculation on what the move is about. Is it for aesthetics? Is it identity politics?
Democrat Zoran Mamdani is taking a break from the race for mayor to reconnect with his roots in the African country of Uganda. He made the announcement today in an online video. Mamdani was born in Uganda's capital, Kampala. He says he and his wife will call on old friends and family until the end of the month. Then Mamdani insists he will gear up the campaign while recognizing that his trip may draw public scrutiny.
Okay, so just to the end of the month. So it is July 23rd. So what, you gonna spend a week in Africa? Is this news?
Here are a few of my humble suggestions for headlines. MIA, Mamdani in Africa. Uganda missed me. He's completely crazy. The Africa can't be serious.
Mamdani's trip is already drawing fire from incumbent Eric Adams. He insists Mamdani's trip is already drawing
completely crazy. The Africa. Uganda MIA. Mamdani in my humble suggestions for headlines. MIA. Here are a few of my humble suggestions for headlines.
May draw public scrutiny. While recognizing that his trip may draw public scrutiny.
Here are a few of my humble suggestions for headlines. MIA, Mamdani in Africa.
Oh shit.
Uganda missed me.
You're gonna miss me. You're gonna miss me. Oh shit.
He's completely
Kampala. He was born in Kampala. He Kampala. Yo, this nigga is a funny motherfucker, boy.
Crazy. The Africa can't be serious.
Mamdani's trip is already drawing fire from incumbent Eric.
All right, look. I don't really know too much about Zohan and shit, but nigga, you got a sense of humor on him and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, something tells me if he get elected, those speeches aren't gonna be boring. Man, I don't know if he came up with that shit himself or if, you know, somebody in the staff put that together, but that was cool little content. I might have to chop that down. So now Mayor Adams or whatever has taken his shot at endowment.
Adams, he insists he is busy showing his ability to work as mayor. Meanwhile, Andrew Cuomo is also traveling. He's hitting towns around the state to highlight his independent run. A police search.
Hi, man, they tripping over motherfuckers getting a vacation and shit. I guess, look, it's a good sign that you don't have a lot of dirt in your past or whatever and shit. If all they got to point out is you taking a vacation with your family, you know, back to your home country and all that. But okay, so like technically New York is gonna have a real like a African mayor. I don't know what his ethnic makeup is, because you know, like over there, like in Europe and Africa and all that, like your parents might be German and you just might like your nationality might be African because or like Ugandan or whatever the case may be, because you were born there, but your heritage is actually like German or some shit, like you know what I'm saying? So at that. Next up, we're gonna get into a video about a drug bust or whatever that happened across Philadelphia. They recovered some guns and all of that. Seemed kind of interesting since we were talking about the cartel shit and everything yesterday. And yeah, let's get it.
Continues for the vandals who splattered red paint on the outside of Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio.
Some other shit.
Right now at 4:30, fighting violent crime in Philadelphia, the city is seeing record low rates of shootings and homicides this year. It is a continuation of a trend that started back in 2024 when Philadelphia saw one of its lowest rates of homicide in decades.
District Attorney Larry Krasner says the decrease is partly because of the work being done by law enforcement and community members. Investigative reporter Claudia Vargas joins us now from Kensington, where earlier today the DA announced charges against an alleged drug dealer. Claudia?
Yeah, well, the DA says that he hopes that the weapons that were taken in this bust can be used for works of art similar to the one behind this fence. But he says despite the drugs and the guns getting taken off the street, the community isn't completely safe.
Mr.
So are they taking like the guns and melting them down to make like metal art or something like that? That's not crazy. I mean, it's dope, but like creative way of getting guns off the street, build new shit with them. For those of you who are under a rock and not from the East Coast or unfamiliar with Philly and all of that, Kensington, man. Hold up. I'm gonna show y'all Kensington. In fact, I'm gonna let this play. And I'm gonna pull the other thing up.
Vera operated in Kensington as a drug dealer. He was caught with 9 guns, 3 of which had been modified to be fully automatic.
District Attorney Larry Krasner announced today the arrest of Edgardo Rivera, who is alleged to have been selling drugs out of his home earlier this year. Prosecutors say when they executed a search warrant in April, they found and confiscated 9 guns, $10,000 in cash, and numerous drugs.
$19,000 worth of narcotics, crack cocaine, hydro marijuana.
Krasner and his team found Rivera to be so dangerous that they asked the court to give.
They asked for $1 million bond. All right, hold up, real quick. We'll come back to that. I just want to show good people, Kensington. Oh, we all gotta watch the whole documentary. I'll just show y'all some real. Bruh, yo, that nigga leaning like a cup of drink, nigga. What the fuck? Yo. Say no to drugs, kids. Yo, ha! Nigga, this is Kensington, bro. Pennsylvania, man. Like, yo, bro, on the bike, though. Nah, my boy. Word. That nigga is his own kickstand, bro. What the fuck? That shit is wild, man. That shit is crazy, crazy. Oh, bro, that shit looks like somebody's nightmare, bro. But yeah, so that's Kensington, all right. Let's get back to this.
And his team found Rivera to be so dangerous that they asked the court to give him a bail of nearly $1 million.
Even though this defendant does not have an extensive record of convictions, it's a lot of guns. It's an effort to make them automatic. Automatic guns are not for the purpose of deer hunting. They're not for duck hunting. They're for killing people.
Rivera's bail, however, was set at $100,000. And as is allowed in PA, Rivera was able to pay 10% of his bail amount, that's $10,000, and be released.
Edgardo Rivera is out of custody. I don't like it. But, you know, we have seen this time and time again.
Krasner says it's the judges who set the bail amount. He complained that sometimes people with minor charges will be held on high bail, while people with serious crimes are given what he considers to be insufficient bail. A spoke
as a fact, because even though, like, when I caught my case, what they were alleging, you know, was overall a part of, you know what I'm saying, or what I was doing at least, because they were saying like I was hitting all these little towns within like Rensselaer and you say like Warren County, which is right before you hit Vermont. But you know, I got caught for like one transaction. Well, initially two. You know what I mean? And it wasn't even like a lot, but when you understand how much like a gram goes for out there, it's like that shit start to add up. Like you start to realize, like, oh shit, like $1,000 damn near like both of those plays. So you know what I mean? It's like that type of shit. But man, they gave me they put my bill at a quarter ticket, $250,000. You know what I mean? So I mean, like that I see some people or whatever there with whole shootings, they'll be $60,000. So it's just weird, like how they do that.
spokesperson for the Common Pleas Court declined to comment.
the real change that we need in Pennsylvania is for the legislature to get rid of money as being a thing.
In the meantime, Rivera is scheduled to be arraigned next Monday.
Is the community in danger right now, the fact that he's still out?
I don't want him out. I'll say that. You know, I'm not going to pretend I have a crystal ball and know whether he understands it's time to quit.
And Rivera's lawyer says that the allegations are serious. He has not yet seen the evidence, and he looks forward to trying the case in a court of law. Now, coming up at 5, we're going to give you details on what this new Peace Park is. It is locked right now, but we did get a chance to go inside earlier, and we'll explain what the weapons inside of that tarp have to do with it. In Kensington, Claudia Vargas, NBC 10 News.
But big brother, once you understand how to brain
Kevin Gates and Big Meat, I know they lying. What the fuck is this? It's that nigga that be always impersonating Kevin Gates and shit. We got a minute for a little laugh.
But big brother, once you understand how the brainstem work and the neocortex, as opposed from the ancient brain, you will understand how meticulous a conversation could be with two brothers like us aligned. You hear me? Once I put my hand on that battery, it was all in my mind, big brother. You feel me? So you got to understand the war is out here. We must assemble ourselves as men for the battle. Big brother, you feel me? Big brother, I'm trying to man, this nigga crazy.
No, nigga. Wait. Hold up. Yo, how the fuck? Yo, my nigga. Is that shit drawn on? That nigga drew the villain bitch.
Nigga sitting there looking like a dog, man. What's wrong? Cardiac arrest.
Oh.
Oh, well.
Yo, this nigga drew this shit. Look around this shit. Tia Kemp had said that Meat should like goatee and everything like that. It looked like a super villain, like in a movie, like a cartoon, like they drew it on. Hey. Yo, that shit crazy. And that nigga just be in the pictures smiling like that nigga don't be saying shit. He just literally, he be walking and he just like, the video, he be standing still for the video like he taking a still photo. Like, but when he left shit, it wasn't just still photos. Like if you took a picture with somebody, yo, this shit is crazy, bro. That shit funny. Okay.
The rumors that T Grizzly paid for his aunt /
Yeah, so look. Oh, okay, yeah. I knew I ain't watched it or whatever and shit. I just seen it. And I put it on the playlist. I was like, what the fuck? But I'll probably start doing that. Like just throw a random reel in the middle of the fucking, like in between the sketches. Because sometimes it be rolling right into the next story before I'm ready to like give it together. But anyway. Yeah, I know I covered on the last episode, we covered the conspiracy theories circulating. I mean, I don't even know if we call them conspiracy theories, like they're allegations now being thrown around in the court of law. Weird thing, because I've been taking a lot of what I've been seeing about this whole case against 600 Wu-Tang, aka Jermaine Wheaton. You know, Jermaine with a J, Wheaton, W-E-E-D-E-N. Because when I'm searching a nigga, I don't find like the case or whatever and shit. Like, I'll even show y'all real quick. Since, you know, we're all about transparency at Daylight TV. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I did. All right. I'm going to show y'all in real time so that y'all know. Ain't no funny business, ain't no freaky. Like that one nigga be saying. Now, when it comes to the news, right, it should show me something, but it shows me nothing, right? Now, even if I take the Wu-Tang out, a lot of times that shit was showing me some shit about like Wu-Tang. They only knew. All right, we trial. Nothing comes up. Nothing comes. Everything is like social media. I think the most official thing I saw was all hip hop, but like all of this shit is. All right, so these right here that came up, I think it's gonna try to make me subscribe. Yeah, make me register for that shit. I'll do it later. But it shows like the dockets here. But see, this is the federal shit because the stuff in the state case is not out yet. You understand what I mean? Let me see. Just law might let me do it. Oh, yeah, that one. This one might let me look at it. Shemaine, yeah, so I think this was from his federal gun case because I think Illinois because he got caught with the gun, the Glock 23. He got caught with that shit or whatever, and he got caught with it in Chicago. And then when they ran the ballistics on it, they realized that it was used in that murder. So they got a whole bunch of stuff here, right? So now that's what let me know that there was some validity to it because I'm like, man, this is like the bullshit. After that Troy Ave shit, I gotta take everything with a grain of salt. But with a lot of people reporting on it, in particular Al Prophet, who is super tapped in Detroit, and pretty known to be accurate and do good research or whatever. So I kind of was willing to entertain or buy into it a little bit. Feel me? So now that I knew that it was real, you know what I mean? Because this is just for the gun case. So he still got a gun case he got to face federally. And that's weird because he's actually out on bond. Like in Detroit, though, they will let you out on bond. You know what I mean? I found out like on first degree murder, which is like wow. But I don't think they do that shit out here. Like you catch the body in this bitch, bro. Like you gonna sit. But I don't. Hold on, I'm gonna find out right now. In New York State, is there a bond for first degree murder? In New York State, for first degree murder, it is highly unlikely that a judge will set bail. While the law allows for bail in bail-eligible cases involving violent felonies, the presumption is often against bail in murder cases. Yeah, so they can. It's like leg room for them to, let somebody out, but not likely. So that being said, one thing came out before we even get into that. In fact, we're gonna go to YouTube. So look, T Grizzly, so Alpaca reported that T Grizzly took the fifth in the trial and shit. So we're gonna actually look into this for a little bit.
Okay, I almost uploaded this story without getting the facts. I jumped the gun, but then I said, hold on, this is too serious. So right now, there's a guy on trial, and the one to pull the trigger on T Grizzly's Aunt JB back in 2019.
Kimberly, tonight we know the Detroit rapper was one of 3 people inside that car when the shots went off. Now, in that shooting, the rapper's aunt died, but he was not injured. Detroit police responded to the area of 3 Mile Drive just off Mack Tuesday night on the city's east side. They were out to collect evidence of multiple bullet casings regarding the rapper's aunt died, but he was not injured.
Back in 2019.
Kimberly, tonight we know the Detroit rapper was one of 3 people inside that car when the shots went off. Now, in that shooting, the rapper...
All right. Now, that was what I was looking for, right? That clip. I knew I saw a news clip where it initially reported that T Grizzly was in that car with JB, the driver, when the shooting took place. You know what I mean? At least that's how they put it out there. And so it had everybody thinking like, yo, that's crazy, because like if the joint had a switch on it and you let that bitch go, and he's sitting in the back, but then somebody said that he was in the passenger seat. I saw that somewhere. You get what I'm saying? So let's just finish. Let's go through.
His aunt died, but he was not injured. Detroit police responded to the area of 3 Mile Drive just off Mack Tuesday night on the city's east side. They were out to collect evidence of multiple bullet casings regarding the deadly shooting here. It turns out someone opened fire on a black Chrysler with 3 people inside. Among those inside the vehicle, Detroit rapper...
His name's Jermaine Whedon. He's in the 3rd Circuit Court of Michigan, criminal, Judge Tracy Green. It should be on YouTube live streaming, but I went to the live streaming channel and YouTube removed it for community guidelines. I mean, I don't know, the courts, they're live streaming these criminal trials because the public's supposed to be able to see them, but I guess they're not aware of that, YouTube might take it down depending on what's testified about. So
damn, come on, YouTube. Y'all supposed to be like the TV space, man. Y'all supposed to be keeping it raw. Get the truth to the people. Are you gonna shut like I understand like, people just making regular content. It's the court of law, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Shit, transparency. What happened to that?
My contact told me that, and I was like, oh, that's right. And I found her channel, but it's been removed. Some contacts I had there in the courtroom told me T Grizzly was called to testify. The judge allowed him to plead the 5th, which means any answer may tend to incriminate me. Now, people often, like in a movie or something, if someone pleads the 5th, they imply that means they're guilty. But the way it's worded, or that they did something. And what would T Grizzly have done in the homicide of his aunt? Well, we'll get to that in a second. Tend to incriminate me means you don't have to help the government build a case against you, and something that tends to incriminate you doesn't mean you did anything. For example, I have on this pink shirt. Let's just say there was someone was found deceased around where I'm at, and some witness said, well, it was a guy in a light colored shirt, or right? If I got on,
yeah, like you could basically implicate yourself and set yourself up for like reasonable suspicion, because you're just talking. You feel like that's why even if you're innocent, you should always like have a lawyer present when you're talking to the police, because you may not have done anything, and because you have this clear conscience, you're just gonna talk to the police or whatever and just say like, oh, well, I didn't do this whole time. There may be certain things coincidentally in your story that could allow them to believe or suspect that, you know, you were involved, or you may be a suspect, period. So that's the thing. But he pleaded the fifth, right? So it's not too much to say. Once you plead the fifth, you said nothing. You know what I mean? Like now you just speculate or whatever on what it is. So we got that out the way. Now we're gonna go to the joint I seen with Poetic Flacco that says the shooter said T Grizzly paid to get his aunt killed. It's over. Now y'all know Flacco. I think he was on No Jumper or something like that, or at least when I used to hear about him. I know he was really on top of that whole loose cannon thing or whatever when it went down. So let's see what dude talking about.
The rumors that T Grizzly paid for his aunt/manager to be killed started off as a simple conspiracy. It's now escalated to the point where the murder suspect defense is in court saying that T Grizzly paid for the hit. Let's do a quick recap just to make sure everybody is caught up on this situation. And if you're not caught up and didn't watch the other two videos, you could go to the T Grizzly playlist to get caught up. But T Grizzly auntie Jobina Brown was shot and killed in 2019.
Sad to have to report this, but Jobina J.B. Brown, the manager and aunt of T Grizzly, was shot and killed in Detroit on Tuesday night, August 20th. Comments about her death began surfacing Wednesday.
She was saying, oh, she couldn't really form no words. You know what I'm saying? But like coming for me because they opened my door. Okay. And shooting in the car. They hit her 8 times though.
And you have no idea where this came from?
No, I ain't got no idea where it came from, but it ain't even matter where it came from. Who I felt like everybody was a suspect.
Now it looked like everybody, including you, gang. That's crazy.
I felt like everybody was a suspect.
T Grizzly was correct. Everybody was a suspect, but we'll get to that later and exactly what that means. But let's continue the brief recap. Wu Thing, aka Wu 600, was arrested for the murder of T Grizzly's aunt. Now, Wu Thing, aka Wu 600, is from 600. He's T Grizzly's associate, and he's Buka 600 associate, who was the groomsman in T Grizzly's wedding. After Wu 600 was arrested for the murder of T Grizzly's aunt, that T Grizzly believed was targeted for him, T Grizzly continued to hang out with 600 members like Buka 600. Wu Thing was initially arrested for the murder because he was pulled over in Chicago while sitting in an alleyway in a stolen vehicle, as well as being in possession of a firearm. The stolen vehicle that he was sitting in the alleyway was actually the getaway vehicle used in the murder of T Grizzly's aunt. And the firearm, after ballistics was done, was the same firearm used in the murder of T Grizzly's.
Damn, I don't know if I covered that or if I missed it, but I knew he had the same gun, but this nigga had the getaway car that was actually spotted on the scene. That's wild.
His auntie. And the cell phone towers confirmed that Wu Thing was actually at the location for 2 hours before T Grizzly and his aunt got there. Why was you hiding out at that location?
Whoa. Whoa. So he laid in wait. for them to show up. Now, this is like, again, 600 Wu-Tang, Jermaine Whedon, who is the alleged shooter, you know, we're saying allegedly, he's guilty. I mean, he's innocent until proven guilty. Even though they play it like that. That's how we just so used to saying it. It's like the Jay-Z song, guilty till proven innocent, right? But you know, he's innocent until proven guilty. So he's from Chicago. This is a very so 3rd Mile Road and like Brunswick over there, like on the east side and shit. Like as somebody who's been to Detroit, so I've been going to Detroit since like back in 05, like back in long T-shirt days and all that. That's not a side of town that like people just know. And there are probably people in Detroit who just have no reason to even go over there. You feel me? But it's very, like I said, it's like very desolate. Like, you know, it's almost has like a ghost town effect to it. You can even see in the scenery, in the background and shit, not a lot going on over there. And it's kind of dangerous and shit. Even T. Grizzley said that. So for dude to just have a reason to be there 2 hours before they even pulled up, how did he know about that spot? Well enough to just pop. Yeah, man, it's bad.
With the murder vehicle and the murder weapon, obviously you are involved in a murder. But it also opened up more room for suspicion for T. Grizzley. If this was a stop that was out the blue, it was a stop that came up while you was in the vehicle and you just made an emergency stop somewhere to grab something, then how did the shooters know to be at that location for 2 hours? It didn't make sense whatsoever. And if they were at their location for 2 hours and they seen you get out, then why would they open up the vehicle and kill your aunt if they were looking for you? It made zero sense whatsoever.
That's a fact. Because now at this point, for you to be waiting, you knew they were coming. And then for you to be there before them, you saw the nigga get out. So even if you didn't have time to jump out the car and say, like, you know, run across the street or wherever you had to get from, you saw where he went. Now, if he's the target and you trying to run down on something, and how he described it is he's on the side of a house. So meaning that there's no real way, it's probably tight between them houses, like a little alley, there's probably another house next to it. So there's no way to zigzag and run. It'd be like shooting fish in a barrel. And then even then, the yard is probably fenced in or whatever and shit. Like the worst case scenario is once you start popping, like he said, the cousin came out the house and he had a gun. So you might run into something, you know what I mean? Like when you coming out. That's why, like, you know, if niggas was real hitters and shit, there's always supposed to be like somebody there to back you up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't go too much into that. Like, I ain't gonna tell y'all how to do no drill and shit. What would I know? Yeah, so that don't even sound right now. That's super crazy. I thought they might have just been followed and they waited because it was so secluded over there that was just a good time to like hit it, you know, homie and shit like that. But even then, you saw him get out the car, whatever, if you were following him. Yeah, this shit was sloppy.
And it didn't make sense to the police either. The police chief wasn't buying T. Grizzly's story either. My sources told me, and when I say sources, understand this when I tell you this. I'm not talking about hearsay. I'm not talking about associates. I'm talking, everything I tell you, they've been in the room when it happened. I'm not talking about, hey, yo, I heard this. Hey, yo, Pookie told me, no, I'm talking about when I tell you something in this video, understand, the person I heard it from was in the room when it happened.
So y'all can see my eyes. What?
Person that told me is connected directly to the situation. I was told the police chief looked T Grizzly in his eyes and told him, I know you involved somehow. I'm going to get down to the bottom of this. The police chief thought this. The police chief thought that T Grizzly was involved somehow. They just couldn't prove it. They just couldn't connect the dots because people.
That's wild. So they always, damn. So this whole, if that went down like that, if Flacco really got this source, all this time, this nigga T been moving around knowing damn well that, like, you know, might be something down the pipeline. And I mean, what's crazy about it is this, right? The court papers I showed y'all, if they still up here. The court papers I showed y'all are from 2020. All right. Bring this back up. So, yeah, see. Oh, well, nah, I'm going too far down. All right. Yeah, see, these, okay, that was both the days ago. This right here, like the actual paperwork, it's showing me something else. Showing me some Reddit shit. What the fuck? Yeah, back up. But yeah, that shit was from 2020 and everything like that, right? Now T Grizzly got married, I want to say last year in 2023. So meaning that he knew that a 600 member had been implicated in the murder of his aunt and still had a 600 member at his wedding as a groomsman. Definitely strange work.
People wasn't talking. Whoever this Wu Thing guy is, he been quiet. That's until he went to that courtroom today. That's until he went to that courtroom. Oh, and we're going to talk about what happened in that courtroom. It's not looking good for T Grizzly, what took place in that courtroom. But the police chief told T Grizzly, we know you involved somehow. Now, you could say the police chief is salty. They got something against T Grizzly. They got a vendetta against T Grizzly. Okay, you can probably go with that. But when the police chief is telling T Grizzly that to his face, and he's telling Jobina Brown's family to their face, hey, we know something is up. The police chief told Jobina Brown's sister and Jobina Brown's mother that they believe that T Grizzly is involved somehow. Now, T Grizzly became a suspect almost initially because the police chief discovered, so T Grizzly's uncle was married to Jobina Brown. The uncle went to jail 3 months before her death. Within those 3 months, T Grizzly began an intimate relationship with Joe.
Hold on. So was she still married to him when he went to jail?
BREONNA Brown. Police chief looked at that and thought, wait, that's messy. That could obviously lead to something. But that's before they began to put the puzzle together. T Grizzly and Jobina never fully admitted that they were intimate, but I was told that family members began to figure it out fairly quickly, and it was starting to get around. Could T Grizzly maybe have gone the extreme to cover it up? Maybe. Now, the rumors that Jobina Brown was pregnant at the time of her death is false. But where those rumors came from makes things so much worse for T Grizzly. The rumors that Jobina Brown was pregnant came from court, and it wasn't a prosecution who put that theory out there. It was the defense. It was Wu Thing's defense attorney. You see,
damn. See, this hit different because now it's like you have someone who essentially would be a co-conspirator if what they're alleging is true. Like kind of giving motive behind, you know, some of this shit.
see, Wu Thing is the murder suspect in this trial. Whatever his defense attorney say came from Wu Thing. See, street dudes is finding creative ways to tell nowadays. They telling through their lawyers, right? They won't get their butt up on that particular stand and point their hand and tell it all, but they go and tell through their lawyer. The defense attorney, who is responsible for getting Wu Thing off, he came to court and he says, listen, obviously, T Grizzly put the hit out on Jobina Brown. He said that in court. The transcripts will prove it. And he also said that he did it because Jobina Brown was pregnant. Now, the prosecution understands that this, now the prosecutors themselves could probably believe that T Grizzly is guilty, but right now they're trying to prosecute Wu Thing. So they brought the autopsy person or somebody, an expert, to testify that Jobina Brown was not pregnant. T Grizzly is a smart man, so he already understands that if the defense attorney is in court saying that you...
So I said that. I said if she was pregnant, that would have definitely came up in the autopsy, especially if she was pregnant during the time she was killed, because then he would have been charged with a double murder. You know what I'm saying? Like the murder of Jobina Brown and the murder of the fetus. You know what I'm saying? So
you were the one who put the hit on your auntie. That came from the murder suspect. That came from the shooters. That means the shooters is already talking. That means the shooters is already giving information to their attorneys, and they're trying to use that to get him off. It's not looking good for you, man. And all that is to believe the aunt was pregnant. We heard this is why we're doing this. This is why we're taking her out. They probably was under the impression, yo, we gotta, you feel me, take her out because she's pregnant. And if that's the case, then maybe if T Grizzly is involved, then he probably thought she was pregnant. But
yeah, because it might not be the reason, but it could damn sure be what he heard or what he was told when he was actually given the hit, however that went down. So, you know what I mean, that could have definitely been a thing. Let's keep going with this.
times he wasn't. Maybe he was told if he's involved, right? So if I'm T Grizzly and I'm hearing this information
right there, like I guess it'll show her face maybe a little later, like it'll go down. But that's the auntie whose house that they was at, play auntie, whatever case may be. But that's who it was there.
if I'm involved and I know who I told this to, then I know they telling. I know they talking already. And it's not looking good at all. Now, the shooter is trying to get the cell phone tower evidence dismissed. The shooter is saying, yo, the phone is registered in somebody else's name. However, that number from that phone is a number that's known to him, is a number that he's been using for like his probation officer, his family and friends. That's his number. But because the phone is registered.
Well, dumbest criminals. And then, you know what's crazy? Niggas like that will have a song like, I got 2 phones on their playlist and shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit crazy, boy.
It's somebody else's name. He's trying to get it dismissed. Is not going. They're not dismissing it. The evidence stands. The driver who was in the vehicle when Jobina Brown was shot and killed, he testified that the shooting took place 45 seconds from when T. Grizzly got out the vehicle. What that shows is T. Grizzly was on that porch. That shows that there's a high likelihood that the shooters seen T. Grizzly, because from how the car is positioned in a picture of the house, if you're walking up to the back driver's side and you're opening it up, you can see over the car. Like, you can see the porch.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like, that's the thing I was thinking too and shit like that. And, you know, I broke that down, like even how the car would be parked or whatever. If she was sitting behind the driver, let's say if T was sitting in the back with her, right, being chauffeured by this driver in this Chrysler. T's a big dude, he's like 6'3" or whatever, so he's a couple inches shorter than me. He's more than likely gonna sit on the passenger side, because I always sit on the passenger side because that's the side that could be adjusted and all that. The driver gotta, you know, be comfortable and have his, you know, leg to work the pedals and all that shit. So normally, if I'm with somebody, they're shorter than me, and they'll sit on the driver's side. So more than likely, she's on that side. So if she's parked on the side of the street, like I said, you know, like by the house, no matter what side it's on, unless it's a one-way street and you can park on either side, like going in the same direction, the driver's side of the door is going to be facing the street where somebody could have got out of a car, crossed the street, or walked up to the car, yanked the door open, and light it up. You know what I mean? And T would have been on the other side, like by the sidewalk. So, yeah, that part. And then now I haven't seen the house per se to really know how it's set up, but like first they're saying that he's on the porch, like it's sounding like a front porch. Then he said in the interview like he's on the side of the house. So it's tricky, man. I got to see the like actual crime scene, but it's not too much I can pull up on it. I told you I tried to like see the shit, so all I could do is react to the reactions. These niggas clearly know normally like in the mix.
Porch from that angle, and you'll be able to see a 6'3", 350-pound T Grizzly. You can't miss him. So if he was the target, you'll be able to see him. He was not the target. It doesn't make sense that he is the target. Now, someone who hopped on the phone with T Grizzly, someone who talked to T Grizzly after the incident and was told by T Grizzly what happened, I asked, yo, how did T Grizzly sound? Like, was he like emotional? The words that I was told verbatim, it felt like he was trying to fake emotions. It felt like he was trying to like kind of like draw up something. Like he was trying to sound like he was distraught. The person told me, bro.
Well, if you remember, after it happened in the interview, he said at first he was mad because he's like, why would y'all leave me? So it could have been like, well, nobody really knows, like, you think, because he doesn't know if she's gonna be okay or all this other shit or whatever. Like, it's a lot of you know, like when you're in that situation, bro, like your brain is going like 1,000 miles a minute. So sometimes like that shit don't always process like that. You know, especially if you're not seeing it, like you don't see the person, so you can't really, you know, all you could do is like you're trying to hope for the best or think of the best case scenario and shit. Like, so that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, bro was on some funny shit. You know what I mean? But
I can't really explain it. They said it just felt like he was trying to like come across as if it was this and it was not. Sada Baby was also signed to Jobina Brown. Sada Baby was one of the people who came to identify her body. I believe it was Sada Baby and Jobina Brown's sister, if not her mother, who went to identify her body. And I was told that Sada Baby was distraught. He was effed up about this. I was told, but like Sada Baby was looking at T Grizzly a little crazy. The Sada Baby actually looked T Grizzly in his eyes and told him, hey, bruh, tell me you don't got nothing to do with this. That even Sada Baby wanted T Grizzly to know, hey, bruh, tell me you got nothing to do with this, man. And that T Grizzly gave his word to Sada Baby that he ain't had nothing to do with this. It's not looking good.
All right, now yesterday, I believe, or the day before, because I be chopping these joints up or whatever sometimes. I be tracking the thing. But when I was covering the whole T Grizzly, did T Grizzly backdoor his aunt and manager with secret pregnancy? So the secret pregnancy is off the table, but to take full ownership of his catalog, could that be a thing? You get what I mean? Because other than that, what else would it be? She wasn't pregnant, like the affair or whatever and shit. I mean, like Unc in jail and all that shit, whatever. You just have to deal with that with Unc once you get out. And killing her damn sure wouldn't have made it any better. You know what I'm saying? So like that don't really add up or whatever. So the only thing that makes sense is business side. And the only thing whatever that could possibly make Sada even question T Grizzly like that would be Sada's in business with them both. So if anyone knows if there's any business disputes, it would be him. And so it might just raise suspicion on his end, like, yo, but you know what I mean? Like what the deal is. But let's keep going. We're going over time, but yeah.
It's not looking good. Now the next court day is tomorrow. I'm gonna have people in the court day. I'm gonna have people in the room. We're gonna figure out more details about what's going on. Because the defense attorney for the shooter is throwing T Grizzly under the bus. Now, right now, it don't feel like the shooter or the suspect is telling, because from their perspective, they believe the case is weak. Because once you throw out the cell phone evidence, at this point, it's kind of like, how do we put him at the location? So he hasn't really like fully told you because they believe the case is weak and they can beat it. But once he's found guilty, once they put him right where he belongs, man, it's over with, bro. It's done for, man. It's over with. Now, I was told the family, Jobina Brown family, has been very suspicious of T Grizzly for a while. And when I was told why, they said, listen, the family has been suspicious of T Grizzly because he continued to hang with the people that the family believe is responsible for the aunt's death. If Wu Thing, aka Wu 600, is from 600, and T Grizzly groomsman in his wedding last year was Buka 600, the family is like, come on, man. We not born yesterday, y'all. If the hit was for you, then why are you still hanging out with those people?
Now, there is something. Yeah, my bad, y'all. There was something I saw. I don't know if it was on Reddit or another video where they were saying that Wu-Tang and what's his face and Buka might have had some type of falling out, and T just got caught in the middle of it. But now, the whole thing with him being there 2 hours early, not a Detroit nigga. And I don't think he probably, like, now T and Book are super close clearly because Book was the groomsman at the wedding and shit. But I don't think Wu-Tang was close enough to Grizzly where he would know that particular aunt or cousin house, you know what I mean, and so on. So that take that out to mix or whatever, that might have been the motive and everything like that, or like T caught up in it like that because he was there 2 hours early. And like they usually do in these situations, they triangulated the cell phone signal and all that and figured out where he was and how long he was there. You get what I mean? Now, I'm pretty sure they were able to do like a timetable of between the 2 hours that he was there and the time that that cell phone signal leaves after the shots went off, and the time that it would take to drive from, say, there, because I'm pretty sure the Chrysler is a new model. They can trace that shit, GPS, all that. So they can kind of figure out minute by minute how everything went down, even if they didn't have the actual, thing. But that shit, wow.
So it's not just us. The family themselves is upset that T Grizzly is still hanging out with the people that are responsible for the death of their aunt, daughter, niece, mother, wife, etc., etc. What I can say, man, is this started off as a simple conspiracy. This started off as y'all telling me, Flacco, oh, you reaching, Flacco. Oh, my God, you police, Flacco. Am I still police if this is true? Am I still police if this is true? This ain't no street stuff. If this is true, if a wife and a mother was killed and she wasn't in the streets, she wasn't no gangbanger, she wasn't none of that, is this still street stuff if she gets justice? Is it?
Realistically, honestly speaking, it's not. Oh shit, wrong one. It's not. Truth Chronicles, what up? Honestly, whatever, it's not. And especially if the motive for it is true. So the pregnancy thing is out the window because the autopsy expert went up there and said that she hadn't been pregnant. Whether they actually had a romantic relationship, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, could be. So it's like, damn, did you sleep with your husband's nephew? But I mean, that shit is no death sentence for that, you know. If it was some shady shit about like maybe something with the business or taking control of the music and all of that, don't really fall like under no street shit. Like you could say that T is from the streets, so he went about it in the street way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and on top of that, even if it was some street shit, it's not like a person like, okay, the police don't have any suspects and you know what I mean, like this thing. Once shit comes out in court and it's, you know what I mean, like it's pretty much public record at that point. Even if you can't get it from the county clerk's office yet, like it's out there. You know, I'm just surprised that the news hasn't been reporting on this, and I don't know if maybe they're just not aware of like how fascinating, for lack of a better word, that the whole story is, the way the dots connect, that they're just not reporting. And you know, I'm surprised that maybe like the family hasn't raised any awareness on this. Is there some media control being done? The fact that you can't really find nothing on this, bro, is wild. Like, you know what I mean? Outside of what's on Reddit and things, it's like, I don't know.
Y'all got it backwards, homie. Y'all got it backwards, homie. This ain't no street stuff, homie. They weren't at war. If T Grizzly is involved, and I'll say is, this ain't no street stuff. They weren't at war. They weren't into it. They weren't beefing. Yo, to me, T Grizzly already showed from the very jump. He ain't got no morals. He ain't got no principles. You was effing on your uncle's wife or ex-wife, because when you go to jail, like, bro, the uncle got sentenced to 9 years. He was 3 months into the sentence when Jobina Brown passed away. A 9-year sentence, bro, that's your ex-wife at that point. But if T Grizzly was effing on the uncle's wife 3 months into his sentence, that's a man that ain't got no loyalty to nobody. And all he does is rap about backdooring. Nah, man. This is bro. Y'all let me know in the comment section, people. Man, bro.
So yeah, man. That's what's going on. This shit getting sticky. I don't know how nobody ain't reported, no big news outlet in Detroit. I'm surprised Scott Bernstein, of all people, ain't on this. You know? And then there's a state case, so you're allowed to have cameras in there. You can record and all that, man. I would have been in Detroit live streaming my ass off, man. What you said, man? Oh, yeah. But, oh, messy business. Messy business. But we're a little over time. Let's see, what time is it? It's almost 11:30. Yep, 11:28. So yeah, that's all the time we got today. We'll be back tomorrow. You know, winding down, end of the week. I got some more uploads coming later on today. The Shaq and Angel Reese, Shaq wanting RG3. I'll kind of break down the whole mathematics of the WNBA. Yeah, man, you got some clips or whatever and shit. You know, we're gonna keep it going. Shout out to everybody who pulled up. Shout out to everybody watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you share this video and help, you know, grow the channel, spread the movement. You know, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a neighbor that we here Monday through Friday, man, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the West Coast, that is 6 to 9. My Central people, 8 to 10. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, jump in, rock with your boy, man. Listen, you know what I mean? Or watch, you know, depending on what your morning program is. You know? But, yeah, that's all the time we got, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. And as always, stay dangerous so you can be safe. It's your boy Daylight TV.